All right. So here we go in three, in two, and one. Welcome or welcome back, everyone, to Aaron's Opinion. Today, we are joined by two very great friends of Aaron's Opinion, two very interesting people here. We have Monika Nellis DuPont and Mary DuPont. I met both of these people, or I met Monika in one of the many Facebook groups that I'm in. And I've come to understand that you have had quite the journey and a very interesting story that you want to share with the world. Now is your chance to do that. So let's dig in. Who is Monika Nellis DuPont? And either one of you can dig into the story, and I will ask you questions, as you walk through the journey. So go ahead, talk for a bit.
Hi there. So this is Monika. I'm a 24-year-old young lady, and I have something called mucopolysaccharidosis type 1. It's a rare genetic disorder that it basically means my body cannot break down sugars. So it stores them all up, and it causes a lot of different issues, and it's a long journey, and we're going to start all the way back in June 7th of 1999. So I'm here with my mom, and she's going to help. We wrote down a little bit of our points, and let's see how it all began.
Hi, I'm Mary Nellis DuPont, Monika's mom. And like she says, it's been a journey. Monika was born June 7th, 1999. A very healthy, normal baby, until we noticed a few changes in her ability to do things, like simple things, like lift up her arms or pick up small items. So our journey started when she was 3. We sort of thought maybe she had arthritis because of her stiff joints, but no, come to find out it was much more of a journey than that. But we started going to the Montreal Children's Hospital for many, many appointments. She had blood tests, skin biopsies, x-rays, you name it, she had it. And we were almost giving up hope until there was one appointment for to check her eyes. And we thought, well, she can see fine. That's not one of her problems. But come to find out, the doctor we had was sort of baffled. It took him under, I think, 5 seconds to look into her eyes and say, I think I know what's wrong. I think I know where to steer you to. So within 48 hours, we had an appointment with a geneticist.
Yeah, because what he saw was the corneas of my eyes. There's like a little fog over them. And that's one of the first earliest signs of this rare genetic disease.
Yep, so we did the tests for that and met the geneticist at the Montreal Children's Hospital. And he sort of said, well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is there's a medication that could slow down this process. The bad news is it wasn't approved in Canada. So even though there was a medication, we couldn't get it. So it started our journey of trying to fight to get a medication that would slow down the process of her disease. And we thought at that time it may stop it, but later we found out that nothing can stop this disease, unfortunately.
Yeah, so basically we started, it's mom's journey of talking to newspapers, going on radio stations, talking on radios, going on news, and even going to the Parliament building to fight and try and make a case for not only our family, but for the handful of others that have this condition as well.
After about 1.5 years, of fighting and everything, we found a society that already existed called the MPS Society, which is based in British Columbia. And the head one of that society also had a child with MPS. So they started this whole journey before we did. So she sort of knew exactly what to do. So we had to apply for what you call a special access program to get the medication. So we ended up doing that. And it wasn't until she was 5 years old that she had her first 6-hour infusion of aldarizine. We thought the miracle medication at the time.
And that is something that I will always remember, because even though I was only 5 years old, I remember laying in this big old hospital bed, and there was my 3 nurses, Anne, Sue, and Lena, my doctor. He was standing right beside me. And after they pressed start on the little button to make the medication go, they handed me a little box. And in that box was a little golden necklace. And they said, "To a long journey that we're going to take together." So that's one of my favorite memories. And I couldn't have done it without them for all those years.
And as all this was going on, she started kindergarten
Uh-huh.
4 days a week, because every Thursday we were in Montreal.
Yeah, we had to wake up at around 6 in the morning, drive an hour into the city, spend all day getting infusions. But that was our normal.
So I guess as time went on,
Mhm.
high school came up. Well, she had a few surgeries before then, like minor surgeries, like tubes in your ears, tonsils out, adenoids, because it's the condition makes it hard to breathe. It makes your airway smaller. And as the disease progresses, it gets smaller and smaller.
Yes, and all your organs are bigger and bigger. So everything is very crowded. So yeah, even we did a spinal decompression surgery as well. And that I was in the hospital for quite a few, what was it?
Oh, only a week,
a
I
week?
think. Yeah, about a week and a half.
So yeah, I tried to bounce back from that, and oof,
And
that
carpal
was-
tunnel surgery.
yeah, those were all big surgeries. And it's all just to help make life a little easier.
Then
So,
she
yeah.
started high school.
Yep, 13.
By then, high school, they were afraid because of her unbalance that people were going to knock her down in the hallways. So we got a 4-wheel scooter. So she did her high school years with a 4-wheel scooter, running over boys' feet and everything else.
Yeah, and even in both elementary school and high school, I had a lot of help. I had aides to help write down notes because I couldn't see the chalkboards. I had lights and magnifying glasses to help with reading textbooks and anything else. And like during gym class, if kids were playing basketball, that was too dangerous for me. So my aide and I would stay in either the hallway or in a separate office, and we would do either yoga or play with a blow up beach ball. And I would still be able to do as much as I can, but it was nice that they were adaptive.
And at this time, this was 8 years into the weekly infusions, 6 hours every week for 8 years. We had some disturbing news that the enzyme replacement was no longer working. So beginning high school and not going to Montreal anymore.
It was a lot of change, because that was disappointing, because we were expecting to be on the medication for like years and years and like for the rest of my life. So when they said like, no, your body's rejecting it, it's like, okay, well, what's the next step then? So we just sort of had to re-look at our life and say, okay, if that's the way it's gonna go, we have to just keep on trucking. So we decided to focus on high school, and like I started doing more activities at school, trying to keep up with all my work, make sure I advocated for myself, and worked all the way up to graduation.
which was a big milestone.
Because with MPS, even with medications, or if you don't take medications, you're not really expected to live past your mid-teenage years, like say 14, 15, 16. So we really celebrated, like it was a big milestone.
And that's when we decided to go on a few road trips and a few conventions. We did quite a few things after graduation.
Yeah, for about 2 years.
Yeah.
We went to Boston, we went to Pittsburgh, we went to Toronto. We really tried to go to like conventions, concerts, comedy clubs, fairs, and festivals. Like just saying, life is too short. I'm taking a break. Like, let's see what happens. And I'm really glad I did, because after that year, let's see what happened next.
All hell broke loose. She lost her vision completely.
Yeah, because at that point, I was still using my computer and my tablet, but I was having very big letters, like backgrounds with white writing, and I was using a lot of touch typing. But then one day, I went to my computer and I tried like 5 times to put my password in, and it didn't work. And I told my mom, I'm like, I can't see anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't believe she couldn't see. But I think it was so gradual, and she could fake seeing so well. I still don't know how you did that for so long with you couldn't see hardly at all. But then it just came, you couldn't see at all. So then we went to do a few more tests, and they told us, well, if you get corneal transplant, you should be able to get your sight back.
Yeah, they said, oh, it's easy. It's just because your eyes are fogged over.
Yeah.
So we're like, okie dokie. We scheduled the appointment. We went in.
We did one eye at a time, just in case.
Yep, we went in for the right eye. It took, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we went back home. There was a bit of a complication. The cornea detached, so we had to go back to the hospital. They put air into the eye to reattach it. But I told them, I'm like, look, it's been a day. I can't see anything. And they didn't understand why.
So the sight never came back. So we decided not to do the other eye, because there was a lot of pain. There was a lot of
recovery time. So we figured, okay, if that's not the issue, what's going on?
And migraines were started too.
Yes, that's another thing that happened. I started not to be able to go in the car anymore because I started to throw up constantly. And for days straight, I would get these horrible migraines, and we didn't know why. So one day after I had this really bad migraine, we decided to go up to Montreal, go to the emergency, and they looked at me and they said, okay, we're going to send you to the emergency at the neurological, because that's for brain and everything. So we went there, they asked me all kinds of questions, and they said, okay, we're going to do a spinal tap to check the pressure in your spinal fluid in your brain. So they did it, and whoop, the pressure gauge went way up. And they're like, oh no, like that is not good. We're giving you an MRI. We did that. They saw that my brain was being squished. The optic nerves were being squished. And they're like, nope, within this week, you're getting a surgery to get a device called a shunt installed. And that's basically, they cut a little hole in the back of your skull and they install, it's a little metal device that helps drain fluid from the skull.
Right down into your belly.
Yep, there's a tube that goes all the way down. into your stomach area, and then your body just absorbs it again.
But we didn't know how uncomfortable that would be over the years, because
Yeah,
it's not fun. It's not just, oh, it'll drain. No, it causes a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort.
yeah, because sometimes the tube decides, oh, I'm gonna move around, and then it like pokes around your intestines, or it's like, ugh. But that was a long recovery. That was
Yes.
about
Over a month
month.
in the hospital.
Yeah, a month in the hospital.
And that was in 2018 about.
Yeah, end of 2018, 2019, Christmas-ish.
Yeah. And then we decided palliative care at home. So we didn't go back to Montreal anymore. There was,
Because there was no point really, because they would say like, oh, we'll check up on your heart. And they'd say, oh, you have a heart stutter, we have to fix it. It's like, no, there's nothing we can really do. So we just decided to take medications to help with the pain. And
because
see how it
also when they
goes.
did the shunt surgery, they had a very hard time to intubate her. And we were told that she should not be ever intubated again. So that means probably no more surgeries, because if you do a surgery, you have to intubate. And they said the chances for survival, if we intubate one more time, is probably not good.
Yeah, or I'd be stuck with like a trach all my life and hooked up to like a breathing machine. So we're thinking, yeah, probably not the best idea.
Like 2018 to 2020 were bad, because not long after that, she became totally paralyzed
Mhm.
and not even really speaking very much.
Yeah, the reason for that is because with MPS, the back of my spine by my neck, instead of growing the way it's supposed to, which is towards is it the back?
Back. Yeah.
Yeah, the back of the head, so that the spinal cord is nice and loose and not being stretched. Mine decided to grow the opposite way. So it's like you're stretching out an elastic band, and it's causing all this pressure, and it's cutting off the signals from the brain to the rest of the body. So for 2 years, I could barely move.
She couldn't move her hands. She couldn't eat.
I couldn't eat, could barely talk. So that's when I started talking to my doctor, and we fixed my medications. We started trying like different things for inflammation, for blood thinning, for like a whole bunch of stuff. And that seems to be helping, because fortunately, day by day, things improved.
And I think right now you're doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
This chatty box.
Yeah, because at that point, I was not able to sleep at all at any night. And my mom would sit up with me each night, and we were just exhausted. But now, like, I sleep in a hospital bed. I have an Amazon Echo speaker to be able to call her in the night if anything happens. But knock on wood, things are going well.
And she also sleeps with a BiPAP that helps you breathe in and out.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important.
Yeah, so I'm being very hopeful about what's going on now, because I'm getting ready to celebrate my 25th birthday next year, which is a very big milestone, and I'm extremely happy about that. So I've been trying to be the best little adult that I can. So I've been helping out with my family, and like I've been doing jobs that I can do from home. So I work with the CNIB, which is the Canadian National Institute for the Blind. I do games with them, and I also do like surveys, and I test apps to make sure that they're accessible for the blind. And I also do that for the Montreal Institute for the Blind. I work with them to do app administration and like all kinds of research. And also my biggest project so far is I'm working on publishing a children's book. That's one of my biggest dreams because when I could see, I was very creative. I was always either playing video games, painting a picture, doing 2D animation, like so much stuff, reading. So when I lost my vision, I was like, there has to be something creative I can still do. And I'm like, I'm going to become a published author. Like, that's going to be awesome. So that's.
I think that's pretty much sums it all up.
That's
How long did
Monika.
that take us?
Yep. The only thing we didn't mention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we didn't mention was when I was 5 years old, I had a Make-A-Wish, and we went to Disney World.
Yeah.
Both of you have done an incredible job sharing your journey. The way both of you went back and forth like that, that's exactly what I wanted. It's exactly the type of thing that we love here on Aaron's Opinion. A little bit more about me. I don't know. Well, Mary, you don't know really much of any of this, but like I said, my name's Aaron Richmond. And I was born blind with glaucoma, congenital heart defect, had an open heart surgery when I was 3 months old. I have Peter's anomaly syndrome, now known as Kabuki's, or some other word for it now. And in hearing your story, there's so much that we can learn from. And your story is so encouraging. My favorite part of the story, of a very serious story, emotional story, meaningful story to me as a podcaster and someone who cares about, what's going on around the blind and visually impaired community all over the world. The fact that you've decided to work, the fact that you've decided to write a children's book, the fact that I'm sure that book is going to get published, and that I would be more than happy to tell people when you have published your children's book, because that is such an illustration of your character. Thank you for doing so, because there are so many blind people, Monika, in the community, all over Facebook, all over these groups that say, I can't work, I won't work, I'm too lazy, I'm too this.
No,
And the fact and the fact that you work, not only is it the right thing to do, but it's sending the right message to society. Thank you a million times over for that. That is, you're doing the right thing. You're living the right life.
She inspires me every day.
You have a hard life, but also that's life. We all have hard lives. Life is hard. Living is hard. So we've all been through different emotional things like that throughout our lives, dealing with significant health problems. I have, you have, we all do. But the fact is that the vast majority of blind people, so many of these blind people in these groups, I'm like laughing to myself. Some of these blind people in these groups, they're just blind. They don't have any, MPS. They don't have problems breathing. They don't have anything wrong with their organs. All the organs are fine. Breathing's fine. And still they won't work. So what, I just thank you for just standing up and doing the right thing anyway, because that is tremendously good karma. The other thing I have to ask, so who performed the cornea transplant?
That was what's it called?
Oh, what is it called?
Well, okay. Well, Mary, let me phrase it like this. Was it a hospital? Was it a hospital in the Oh, okay. It was someone up there. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you had. I was just kind of curious. I'm sure you've been or heard of Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, and that's kind of what I was thinking of when you mentioned the cornea transplant part, because I've had many of those cornea transplants.
Was it Maisonneuve-Rosemont?
Yeah, Maisonneuve-Rosemont in Montreal.
Right. Okay. Okay. Good.
And something else I don't think we mentioned is I went from like being a kid, like I said, it's progressive. So I was like swimming, playing on jungle gyms, like running, making forts in the forest, like very active. But then over the years, like I had to start using my scooter. And then eventually I went to use a walker for 2 years. And now for the past, I'd say 3 years,
3 years, I think.
I've been using a wheelchair. So, you have to adapt and like keep moving.
She's very good at adapting.
So apart from, moving through life so, graciously and gracefully and successfully as you are doing, what do you think is the, sometimes I like to think, and I could be wrong, but sometimes I like to think that in life we have to learn lessons as we go through life, right? So what is the lesson behind adaptability? What has being adaptable really taught you? Apart from and in addition to being adaptable, what else have you learned about yourself through adaptability?
Is that nothing is really impossible if you really try hard, because there's something exists out there, you just have to find it. Because to shower, I needed a chair, but they all had benches that you had to sit and then scoot over with. I can't do that on my own, so I'm like, there has to be something better out there. But my occupational therapist is like, oh no, there's nothing. So I did my own research and I found a chair that slid on rails that could move from outside of the tub all the way to inside. And I'm like, that's exactly what I need.
Yep.
So it's
Wow.
I figured if it exists, you can invent it, you can find it. It's all about being able to be more independent and advocate for yourself. It's right now I'm doing a petition because my local movie theater does not include any audio description. And I'm
Uh-huh.
it would not be just for me. There are many older ladies and gentlemen that would love to have that product.
Absolutely. Yeah. By the way, I think that even I saw something from change.org from you. Yeah, talk about that, by the way. We've been talking about a lot of serious and meaningful things. So to lighten the mood, I've never not to lighten the mood, but just for me to inject my own flavor here in this. I've never written a change.org petition, but my brother wrote a change.org petition about a very serious matter. He wanted to change the plural of squid from squid to squad. And I and I don't know. Now, I don't know if that's something that my brother just made up to annoy me because that's what brothers do, or there really might be a petition out there to change the plural of squid to squid to squid to squad. So
Oh, that's funny.
let's not worry about squids or squads, but why don't we really worry about movie theaters? So what can you tell us about writing a petition on change? First of all, how does change.org really work anyway?
All right, so it's a little funky to use with a screen reader because a couple times I had to ask my mom or my aide to help enter a text box because I would type a paragraph and then it would duplicate it. And I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know why it did that.
yeah, that's a little funky. But no, I was able to do a lot of the steps on my own. And basically it just asks you to add where you are, if it's local, if it's national, if it's international, then what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for disability, for environment, for politic, for whatever category? And then you can write your title. So me, it was get audio description available at the Princess Theater. And then you just write up a nice little biography about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how people can support you. So just try to make it as appealing as possible to get people to think, you know what, this is something that I can really get behind. And then you just ask people to share on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, texting. And then you have to just keep thanking them and say I really appreciate it.
Well, gosh, I've thanked people a lot, but just because you sit there and say thank you, thank you, thank you, doesn't mean that anything happens.
Yeah. I within 2 days, I got over 100 signatures.
That's
So
wonderful.
I did send out a little email saying like, I really appreciate everyone's help and let's
Oh,
keep the ball rolling.
She's good at writing letters.
Yeah, so I'm good at like contacting newspapers or
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Knows how to push those buttons, eh?
yeah, a little like ee.
I see. I see. That's so good. And then, but in the end, though, so let's say that you get like, are there metrics with change.org to say like after you reach like 1K signatures and like how does change.org actually like help you to help the theater to actually make the change? Like how does that actually work?
So what I understand is you decide once you have enough signatures, because it starts by only 5 goal, like 5 signatures as your goal. And if you get 5, then it bumps up to 10 signatures, and then 50, and then 100. So it keeps increasing slowly to give people an incentive. And then if you've resolved your issue, or if you're ready to show all your signatures, you can either click on this petition has been resolved and you can shut it down, or there's a button that says export all signatures, and you can save a document and print out all of the people that have signed, and you can bring it to wherever it is that you're trying to get the change, or like email it to them or do whatever you want.
Right. That's really cool. That's really, really cool. You know, here in the States where I'm from on the other side of the border, some of the theaters have the DVS, the audio, and some don't. It just, the answer is it depends on the community and how many people need that particular thing. But no, that's a huge issue. I mean, it's, you know, to some listeners at home, that might not seem like a big deal. But look, if you're blind and you know you want to go to the theater and really get a lot out of the film, you really do need to have audio description, without any doubt. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to really dig in and philosophize with you about, it sounds like you're doing a lot of research, and both of you obviously are very knowledgeable about MPS. And forgive me when I tell you that I'm not knowledgeable about that. That's not my, that's not my condition. That's not my genetic
Well,
thing.
even in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe 100 people.
I think there's more knowledge about it actually in the US.
Probably.
They have a
society
as well.
Right,
but,
right.
Yeah, there's really not a lot.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right, but now there's even more because now you're telling me about it, and now everybody on YouTube will know about it. So I mean, this is a huge help. But what the other thing that I want to know is, so it sounds like you're doing a lot of research about your condition. You know, you're in a lot of forums, you're contacting a lot of people around the world, doctors, patients. You know, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot to help others who are in your shoes, right? So. Yeah. What has been what results have you rendered from all of your work that you're doing? You know, how many people have you helped? How much else have you learned about your own condition? And what are the global prognoses and stats on that? What do you think?
Well, every 2 years, at least here in Canada, we have the MPS conference. So it's, if you're able to, we all meet up. It's in a different province every year. And they talk about all the new research going on, any new medications, any new surgeries, like doctors talking to each other. And it's a good place for families to connect as well, because it's very difficult, especially when, say, you just had a baby, and actually starting, what was it, 2 years ago? Or was it last year?
Maybe 2 years.
They started actually screening babies for MPS. So that's a huge step that they just started to do. So now that people are actually getting diagnosed as soon as they can, they find the community, and like someone like me who has been through hell and high water, I can explain my situations, what has worked for me, what it hasn't. Like, say, my tubes in my ears. I had a surgery to get temporary. They fell out within a few days. So they're like, okay, we're going to put permanent ones in. We did the surgery, and then how
They
long?
fell out in a week.
Yeah, within a week they fell out. So we're like, okay, that didn't really work. So that's something we tell people as well. Like, think of the pros and cons. Like, so we try to support them because it is very scary when you don't know what to expect with your child, and you don't know if they're going to live till they're 10 years old or if they're going to be like 50 years old. So it's a big community, and it's very important to have.
Absolutely. I want to, of course, bring in, or, without having this type of conversation, it wouldn't be a conversation without a little bit of controversy. And I'm sure both of you have a very beautiful and advanced philosophy about this. Right now in the States, there's a lot of talk about, the use of different genetic technology in the future, for couples to be able to basically control the outcome of their births and basically engineer their children and things like that. A question has been asked to me many times, Aaron, do you think we should live in a world where we find a way to cure, the world of all disability? And I've given a very specific answer to that. But what is your blunt opinion about the developments that we see in, using DNA technology and just all this stem cell research and all this crazy stuff that doctors are trying to do? I'm sure both of you have a philosophy about it.
That's a big question.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first, or?
Well, I know there are a lot of tests you can do while you're pregnant now to see if your baby is healthy or not. But, in the end, it's not 100%. So if you terminate a birth, which everybody says, oh, well, your child might have this, might have that. Well, you know what? Monica here, she's the best thing that's happened to me. She's taught me so much. I'm not saying I wouldn't change anything, because I wish she wasn't born with MPS, but I certainly wouldn't say I wish I hadn't had her. Oh my God, my life would be so boring.
Yeah, because the question is, if you could genetically choose specific things about,
I guess exactly, Monica. I guess, Mary, I guess what I'm trying to express is that right now in the States, there's just a lot of social debate about, is it really right for couples to be able to genetically use a computer to say build the perfect baby? We're gonna get flack for this, but yeah, what?
I don't really agree with that.
Like, me neither. Certainly me neither. Me neither.
Brown haired.
Because then it'd be like that episode on the Flintstones where there's a whole bunch of Freds. They all look alike.
Right. Exactly. But I mean, it is interesting, and hopefully, as technology increases, hopefully through doing all of these experiments and research about, genetic testing and things like that, hopefully, I guess my hope would be that we would develop new ways of treating conditions like yours to make it even more livable and even more manageable. It's not going to go away, but we can make it easier over time.
It would be nice if there was a complete cure for everything.
Yeah.
Well, but see then, but here's my logic behind it. So when a student, because actually I'm a teacher, and a student asked me, they said, Aaron, your life is kind of hard. You're blind. Wouldn't it be great to live in a world without blind people? And I say, well, I know exactly what would happen if we lived in that world. Human beings, our species would collapse. We would all die out. And I said, think of it this way. People, just for sake, not to go down this rabbit hole, but take the idea of evolution, right? Say that, we as people have evolved for thousands of years to be where we are today. That's one of the theories, take it or leave it. But I said, look, if we create a world where we as people are never able to evolve and never able to make changes as a species, then we would definitely die out. So my theory is we obviously need to live in a world where there is disability and disease. We that is it's a necessity, and it's evil, and it's hard, but it's the only way that we're going to keep going as people in life. Yeah.
See, I think the difference is if you have a disability that you can live with,
Right.
then you adapt and you can conquer, like being blind or being deaf or being in a wheelchair. But something that I wish that I could fix is like if you're born and you're like brain dead and you're
Right.
just sitting there. To me, that's not a life.
Right. Exactly. So
Sort of like you need to sort of pick and choose.
right, but that's hard. That's easier said than done, though. For if you look at the entire population, that's tricky, and very interesting. But hopefully, with all the research we do, hopefully it'll become easier and easier to manage your condition. And hopefully it'll just get easier as we do more research, as we figure out more and more ways of other techniques, of other technology and other techniques and things like that. Yeah.
Because like for me, like right now, I can still see like colors and lights,
Right.
but the optic nerve that was squished. So if they could come up with some sort of way that it sort of repairs the optic nerve, like I'd be for trying that.
Yeah.
Like that'd be really cool.
Right, but you said optic nerve. I mean, I do know, I am not a doctor, but I do know a lot of information about ophthalmology and cardiology. And as far as ophthalmology goes, one thing that any great ophthalmologist would tell you, which is true, is that our eyes are very sensitive.
Yeah.
Any little tiny scratch or surgery or any little tiny thing is a tremendous trauma to the eye. So the answer of until we figure out how nerves work, the answer is I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there's little hope for your optic nerve for now until we figure out a way of once nerves are damaged, they don't regenerate. That's just how they're engineered, But yeah, you're very right. It would be very good if we can learn how to deal with the optic nerve better and over time. And there's a lot of push for that right now in the States, for sure. Yeah.
Or it's like people that can't walk, like they're coming robotic legs that sort of strap onto you. And they like electrodes that connect to your temple. And you think like, all right, move the right leg. And then the robot leg moves your leg.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd just say one thing.
Sure. Absolutely.
I'm so grateful for social media, for technology, because if we had no technology, I don't know what Monica would be doing. Because she's now involved in so many, like the International Blind Cafe.
Oh yeah.
Friends all over the world. It's like,
well, that's where I met her. That's actually, we met in that group. So I'm also in the group. Yeah.
Yeah, because
groups are great.
I do all kinds of rooms on the cafe. With CNIB, we do
music bingo.
Yeah, musical bingo and like brain games.
All that cool stuff.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I especially enjoyed, I forget if you were there or not, but I went to the trivia last weekend. That is so much fun in the International Blind Cafe. That is so entertaining. Yeah.
I was the winner.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I won like 9 points, I think.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And so what is the prize for winning, apart from the fun of winning? What are some prizes that have been raffled around? Do they ever raffle off prizes?
Well, the prize is that you get to actually choose one of the categories.
Oh, that's really cool. So wait a minute. So the next game is tomorrow night. So what category are you going to choose?
I'm not sure if it's tomorrow night or next week, because usually we alternate games.
But
my category, it was new and old cartoons.
Ooh, that's
Everything
that could
from
get very interesting. You know, the other
from
thing,
SpongeBob to the Flintstones.
Rugrats,
The
you're gonna have to include Rugrats, SpongeBob,
Simpsons.
SpongeBob SquarePants, Simpsons. I mean, there's been so many great cartoons over the years, over my 32 years. There's
Family
been
Guy.
so many.
Yeah, Family
Family Guy,
I
for
don't like
sure.
Family Guy.
Guy. Scooby-Doo.
There's been so many. I'm also appreciative of social media too, because I use it for the right thing. There's a lot of problems in social media, but we're doing the right thing with social media. The other thing too, is we actually have, so here at Aaron's Opinion, we're working harder and harder to create a show where the public can join us. We actually have two people from the public. Two people are actually sitting in the studio here on mute. Would you mind if I unmute them, because I'm sure that they have questions for both of you?
Ooh.
Ooh, that'd be perfect. Sure.
All
Very
right,
interesting.
sure. So let me tell you who they are. We have Tamer. One of the people is Tamer, and he joins us from the States. And then we have our great buddy. He's the greatest supporter of what we do here at Aaron's. In addition to Monica, another great supporter of Aaron's Opinion, Latabo joins us all the way from Pretoria, South Africa. He's been one of the
Oh, wow.
strongest supporters ever. Let's see here. Let's come on over and let's
You? Okay. Hello. How are you doing today?
That's Tamer. Okay, Tamer, go ahead. What is your question for Monica or Mary? Go.
Yeah. Hello, Monica. So I was really thrilled to hear your story and get to listen to what you shared about your experience and your journey. With your struggles and your successes, and how you overcome all your challenges, and you became so powerful, just being yourself, and how you became an advocate, voicing yourself, and working with the CINB. Sorry if I said that wrong, but
You're fine. You're good.
I have a similar story where I work as a vice president for the the local chapter here in my state, and I get to give back that way, and it's a really good way to you know um, um, to give back, and also you know advocate for our rights as blind people.
Mhm.
Also, it's a good feeling to do that, and I'm so thrilled that you are doing that. I'm really happy that you're being really active and doing your best to you know to shine a light, um, and that's all I have.
Wonderful, Tamer. Would you
Yeah.
like to ask a specific question? No, I mean, of course you can make a comment of appreciation and gratitude. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I really
but
appreciate it.
but yeah, but do you have a specific question? I like it
A
when
specific question.
Sure.
So I don't know if I heard this correctly, but do you have any information about stem cells? Have you gotten any information about that? I've been researching and I've not been successful.
Yeah, not really. I did look into it because was curious about it as well for the damage in my spinal cord. So I
Okay.
asked my doctor, and he's like, well, since it's still really new and they're not really sure if it works or not, they said,
Mhm.
not really a good option right now. So yeah, it's interesting to look into though.
Yeah, so I actually shared my story with Aaron the other day, and I spoke about how I had a traumatic brain injury, and I guess the only way they can repair such is with stem cells, but there's
Mhm.
really not great um, advancements in that area. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Um, think anything else.
All right, well, very good. Let's get that's so good. That's so good, Tamara. Here, let's try to get the other person that I know has a question. Is that one? Go ahead, Latabo. I think I unmuted you. Go ahead.
I think he's still muted.
Maybe he is still muted. Huh. Interesting. Huh. I don't know. Okay, it doesn't want to seem to unmute him. That's
Oh,
an
let me
advance.
see because it
Ah,
says
there he
Aaron
is.
is waiting for me.
Okay, go ahead, Latabo. There you
Oh,
are.
God.
Go ahead. Do you have questions for either Mary or Monica? Go ahead.
Okay, since because I was busy on the call,
That's all right.
yeah, let me just mute share first.
You're good.
Yeah. So what I want to say, actually, I wanted to ask is because I heard, I think it's Monica or Mary who said that okay actually they wrote a book. So I just want to know what context does that book has, especially when it comes to children.
All right, so the book, yeah, this is Monica. So I'm starting off, I tried doing little short stories, all different genres to try and figure out what I liked.
Okay.
And I figured since I have two nephews, they're both 6 years old, I was gonna try to write a children's story.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about from ages, I'd say 7 to 10. And basically it's about three best friend mermaids. There's one not specified, so it can be guy or girl. Then there's one boy and one girl, and they each have a different disability.
Yeah, what's up?
They're going on an adventure to go explore a shipwreck.
Let me just do this.
So to get to the shipwreck, they have to go through.
I'm just in a call with Aaron right now.
Yeah. So to go to the shipwreck, they each have to go through an obstacle, and they use their disabilities to help them through each obstacle.
Well, I mean, that is really good. That is a really, really good idea. So, I mean, are one of the mermaids blind, for example?
Yeah, one is blind, one is deaf, and one missing their tail fin.
Oh.
So it's a little odd.
I haven't read it yet.
I think, you know what I think that's going to be a hit for children. I think that children really relate to the magic and the mysticism behind the concept of a mermaid. I think that's something that's very relatable for people. So, I mean, that's going to be a huge deal, and that's going to be a hit. Yeah. And then where are you thinking of publishing this book? Like Amazon or Audible, or where are you thinking of publishing it?
I want to get it traditionally published, which is very difficult to do. So I have to contact either like Scholastics Inc. or like Penguin Random House or like any big book. So you have to write nice little paper and try to sell your work.
Right, right. Well, with everything you have succeeded in already, I don't have any doubt that you'll do fine in writing to those companies and getting that published. I have a lot of faith, and I can tell when someone is, definitely, in and on the up and up, and what you're doing is definitely the up and up. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, to Mary and Monica, do either one of you, or I'm sure both of you, have questions about Aaron Richmond and Aaron's opinion? What do you really want to know? As I like to say, what do you want to ask me to really, get under my skin and really make me sweat as a podcaster? What do you really want to know about me?
Well, you said you were a teacher. What do you teach?
Well, I teach English as a second language, and I work with students online from all over the world. So I completely support that working from home business. Yeah, that's what I do. And I've been doing that for, 8 years, and that's perfect. And I'm an avid podcast consumer along with podcast creator. And I've been involved in, I've always listened to, talk radio and audiobooks my entire life. So creating audio content and creating these types of experiences has been part of my life for forever. This is me.
Nice. So what has been one of the craziest things that you've managed to do in your life? Like just as an activity or an experience, or?
I don't know about crazy. I've traveled all over the world. I completed a study abroad in England when I was studying. I speak French. I've been to France like 5 times now. I've been to Eswatini in Swaziland in Africa. I volunteered in St. Lucia in the Caribbean. I've done those things. Those are all interesting things. I don't know if they are crazy. There's been some crazy people I've met, but I don't know about crazy thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you thought yourself about getting into YouTube or podcasting yourself?
I've thought about maybe like I just made an Instagram account.
Right.
So I'm thinking of doing like maybe little videos of like just little happy affirmations like every few days or something. Like just saying like today's gonna be a beautiful day and I believe in you, or like you're so wise, like you're gonna do great today.
Right. Well, maybe you can use your Instagram account to promote your book and to create little reels where you actually, one thing that would help you to promote your book is if you start creating little animations of these mermaid characters and put that up on Instagram to support your book. That would for sure, that would get you to Scholastic, and that would get you published for sure. Also, are you following me on Instagram?
Oh, you'll have to send me a link.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I will definitely send you that, so that when I put out the video a little later and put out the podcast, you are properly tagged. It's very important to tag people the right way, and then to confirm the collaboration request, and then that sends it out to your followers. Do you have a lot of followers now on Instagram? How are you doing with the followers?
I just created it like 3 days ago, so
okay.
I think I have like 5 followers.
That's totally okay. That is totally fine. Totally fine. Yeah, Instagram grows very quickly.
Okay.
You would be surprised how quickly Instagram, especially when you tag people and tag accounts the right way, it develops very rapidly, actually. Yeah. If you use all of the tools on Instagram, if you set up your website, if you set it all up the right way, Instagram does grow.
Yeah, because I do have a Twitter that like I've been writing short stories like 500 words, 1,000 words, and I'm posting them, and I have about 100 followers on there, so that's pretty good.
That's super good that you're doing that. And overall, you taking the time to do that is really helping. You know, the thing to remember is that what we're doing today will help someone tomorrow. You know, this is about helping people in the present, sure, but also it's a huge help in the future. You know,
Yeah.
if someone wants to get in touch with Monika Nellis Dupont, how would they do it?
You can either find me on my Facebook, my full name, Monika Nellis Dupont, or you can find me on my Instagram, same name, Monika Nellis Dupont, or it's Monika MND. So that's the easiest way to find me.
Very good. Excellent. So good. So good. So good. Well, like I said, I'm Aaron Richmond. This has been an incredible episode of Aaron's Opinion. I still do not understand, after this entire hour, I still do not know why the plural of squid is not squad. But that's okay. Because we learned so much about you, Monika. We learned so much today that it's okay. But Monika, for you to publish your book about three mermaids who have different disabilities, you have to include a squid, and the squid's disability is supposed to be called a squad, not a squid.
It's like, that's not my pronouns.
You have to promise me. You have to develop that character. That is a brilliant character. A squid who identifies with being a squad.
That'll be in book 2.
You gotta include that character. That would be so relatable. And I mean, you don't have to even say. I mean, it can be totally your idea to have a squid who identifies with being a squad. God, I've never come up with that material before. That's really interesting. Anyway, we covered it all. We covered it all today. Mary, you are welcome to add me on Facebook, wherever whatever social media you follow people on. Please do follow me so that you can see what we do here on Aaron's Opinion. Please join the Facebook group. Both of you are welcome in the WhatsApp group, and things like that. Okay. Today I want to sign it off today by saying, usually I've let Latabo do it a lot, but I'll do it today. So thanks so much, everybody, for another serious episode today, a very meaningful episode, and just two more wonderful people to say we're so glad you're in the Aaron's Opinion family, to both of you. All right. Stay safe out there, everybody, and we'll see you next time in a few days, or whenever you download or watch the next episode. So take care, everyone. Help one person today. Help 1 million people tomorrow. If you're still watching on YouTube, thanks for joining us today. Like it if you like it. If you want to help it in the algorithm, dislike it, because that's something Dustin Lindbergh tells me to do. Comment below on the video, subscribe to the channel, tickle the bell notification so you know when we're going to go live with the next live interview. Thank you so much to Mary. Thank you so much to Monika. Thank you so much to both of you. Thank you, Timmer. Thank you, Latabo. Thank you to everyone else who joined us today. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care every day. We'll catch up. We'll catch up soon, guys. We'll catch up later. See you guys. Well, wherever we see you guys, catch up soon. Help one person today. Help 1 million